We'll start with the goalkeeper. So Alisson obviously is our number one. And there's been some talk about his future. Obviously, we have Mamardashvili due to come in the summer of 2025. And what will that mean for Alisson? What will it mean for Caoimhin Kelleher, for Vítězslav Jaroš, and for Harvey Davies? Alisson is the oldest of that group, obviously. He's also the highest paid, and he is the incumbent number one. In terms of his current contract, I believe it runs till 2027, but I just want to double check that it does. It runs till 2027. So I would be suggesting that with Mamardashvili to come in, the ideal situation would be to keep Alisson for one more year. And then in the summer of 2026, you move Alisson on and Mamardashvili becomes the undisputed number one. Alisson still get not a huge fee, but a decent fee for him at that point. You will find clubs that would probably look at Alisson and say there's 3, maybe even 4 good years left there. And the club that continues to spring to mind for me is Bayern Munich. Now, we know they're going to extend Manuel Neuer for next season, but then in the summer of 2026, surely at that point, Neuer, who, let's be honest, is nowhere near the keeper he once was, at that point, you'd imagine at 40, he'd be moving on in 2026, or he'd be retiring, as the case would be. So they do own Alex Nubel, but I don't think he's ever going to be seen as good enough. And if they want to go and bring in a younger goalkeeper to maybe develop, who's not quite ready, it might make sense for them to go for someone like Alisson. But either way, I do think 2026 is the departure date for Ali. With Jaroš, I wonder if next season we look to send him out on loan, like a high-level loan, a top 4, top 5 league, get him a lot of experience under his belt, help with his development, and then bring him back in the summer of 2026 to be the number 2 for a year or 2, not long-term, because at that point he would be 25. So you don't think you're going to get, 4 or 5 years of him, but perhaps he could come back and be the number 2 for a couple of years. Kelleher, I'd be stunned if he stays beyond this coming summer. He turns 27 this year, and he has been quite open about the fact he wants to go and be a number 1. So I think Kelleher will go this season, this summer rather. And then Harvey Davies can probably stick around next summer as the number 3. And then maybe in 2026, he goes out on loan or is sold at that point. Now, the other goalkeeper to factor in here is young Monsieur from the academy, who is very, very highly rated, like probably the most highly rated academy keeper that we've had. And perhaps if Davies was to depart on loan in 26 or 27 or permanently, he can step into that number 3 position. So for this season, we know what we have. For next season, I would be in favor of Alisson 1, Mamardashvili 2, Davies 3, with Kelleher gone. And then in 26, 27, Mamardashvili 1, Jaroš back in off a loan, number 2, and then either Davies or Monsieur is the number 3, with Alisson sold. Because I think we need to get out of the habit of allowing players into the last 12 months of their contract. I think we've just got to start moving them out the door. And I know you can't sell a player that doesn't want to leave, but I think if you tell Alisson, look, he's now the number 1, you're the number 2, what do you want to do? I think he'd be okay then with going. So that's where I'd stand with the goalkeepers.